Go off in just 7 rounds.
This is the man who stands between Frank Bruno and the WBA world title. Here, current champion Tim Witherspoon takes it out on one of his team, much to the delight of the spectators invited daily to watch him spar. But Witherspoon is saving his real target for Bruno, and to help him, a power pack of black muscle, members of his camp, loosen up in the wings to put him through his paces.
I think that he's a real good fighter, and he deserves credit that he deserves, so I give him 7 rounds. If it go longer than that, then he's even better than I expected.
It seems strangely friendly. You've even invited him over to watch you training.
Well, that's because I don't have nothing to hide. I mean, I want him to sit at ringside so he can see what he's getting, you know.
In contrast, Bruno is training behind closed doors with a minimum publicity, but he scoffs at suggestions he won't last half the distance.
Well, if he thinks he's going to knock me out in the 5th or the thing, I don't even think he's going to go that long if he's going to get cheeky and start talking about them. But I'm not going to get into a slagging match with Tim Witherspoon. He can say and do what he wants. He can have his 20 people around him, jeering him up and building him up and boosting his mind up. But when the 19th comes, that's going to be a different story, because I've been waiting 8 years for this title shot.
One definite advantage Witherspoon will have on fight night is that Muhammad Ali will be close to his corner, shouting him on with advice and experience. Terry Lloyd, News at 10, Essex.
Britain's world heavyweight contender Frank Bruno and the reigning champion Tim Witherspoon had a verbal punch-up today when they came face-to-face for the first time. Bruno said he didn't like the champ's flashy lifestyle. Witherspoon hit back, saying he'd make Bruno eat his words.
In a neutral corner of Essex, Frank Bruno came to meet the champion and struck the first blow with a signed copy of his biography. But it wasn't just books they'd come to sell. With 20,000 tickets for the fight still on offer, the publicity was invaluable. For a while it was straight boxing hype. Bruno listening patiently, Witherspoon trying desperately to lose his image as a playboy champion.
He said that I was flashy, like he just stated. He thought I was flashy, but he didn't know nothing about me. Everybody in England thought I'm a flamboyant, run out into the disco, grab a girl, and take her to the hotel. You know? Oh, no, I'm a family man.
So far, Bruno was some way behind on points, but as the contest wore on, he finally came up with a big punch.
And I've been studying his lifestyle as well, and Larry Holmes said to him one day that whatever he does in his lifestyle stinks, and it still stinks. He's a champion, I respect him. He's a good champion, don't get me wrong. He's gone down in history as being a good champion. He's won it twice, but his attitude stinks. And
it broke up in mutual antagonism. Now it's up to Bruno to harness that into punching power in the ring. Peter Staunton, ITN Sport, Hornchurch in Essex.
For the first time today, Bruno came face-to-face with Witherspoon. To make it fair, they met halfway between their 2 training camps at a motel off the A127 at Hornchurch.
The opening seconds of the eyeball-to-eyeball confrontation went a little flat. The announcement came, but the stars didn't.
Gentlemen, welcome to the heavyweight champion of the world, Tim Witherspoon.
After Bruno gets in, Mike.
Eventually, Frank Bruno, looking smart, calm and collected, took his place, followed by Tim Witherspoon in red tracksuit and hobnail boots.
Tim, you've just met Frank. How are you?
Okay.
Just met Frank for the first time.
Yeah, I love it.
What do you think?
He's a hell of a nice guy. Before we knock Bruno out. You know, and I hope he continue on his career after I knock him out. That's all.
You've just met Terrible Tim for the first time.
Terrible Tim. He's got BO, but his BO is very terrible.
Well, this is quite an occasion this morning, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a practice run to when we get to the fight, it's going to be the real thing. So we came down the road halfway, we're going to go all the way down on next Saturday night.
He says he's going to beat you.
Yeah, all of them say they're going to beat me. Only one succeeded, that is Bone Crusher Smith. You know, he can say what he wants to say, because I'm not in it to really be in the slagging. You don't get paid to slag people down or hype people up or whatever. But if he's going to beat me, why does he need 25 people to come and boost him up?
The talking over, with now 10 days to wait to see if Frank can give the world champion the order of the boot.
To beat to take the title. Tim Witherspoon has an impressive record in the ring and a flamboyant style out of it. But Bruno isn't put off. he's confident that at Wembley in 9 days' time, he'll be the first Briton for a century to take the world title. Mike Peshard reports.
Enter first the British challenger Frank Bruno, dressed formally ready for his first ever meeting with the WBA world champion Tim Witherspoon. Witherspoon's recently been in trouble for using drugs, but says all that's behind him now. And he's certainly the best fighter Bruno's ever faced. He's lost just 2 out of 26 fights. The handshake was polite enough, but this was hardly the kind of occasion to forge great friendships. The fight's still over a week away, but the verbal sparring has already begun.
I think Frank Bruno's a hell of a fighter, but I think I'm the best in the world, and I'm not about to let anybody take my belt from me.
Well, I can say, please polish it up on that night.
Yeah, okay.
Polish it up, buddy.
Well, it look like somebody else signing the checks, and you know.
Yeah, tell him how it is, blood.
Okay.
It's being billed as the British fight of the century, but there are still plenty of tickets available at Wembley Stadium. But what did Bruno make of his more flamboyant opponent?
He's a character, isn't he? You know, he's like most of Americans, they're boasty and flash, and he's a character.
It must be a lot of pressure on you, or how are you coping with it?
I'm coping with it fine. What, do I look like the pressure's getting to me? There's about, 200 men around there. Tim Witherspoon's there himself. I'm coping with it fine, thanks. I feel, as I say in America, I feel cool, man.
Big Frank and terrible Tim.
He's cut Cooper's left eye again, and he, just as he did before in the last fight, and Cooper's left eye is a mess, it can't go on, and that's it. It's all over. 1 minute 40 of the 6th round, and it's all over. Henry Cooper's challenge for the championship of the world has ended.
You said he was born in Manchester, so well, he ain't a proper blackie then, is he? I mean, the ones I'm talking about, they're your proper blacks, they ain't the ones.
Pride of place in his Chadwell Heath home. Meanwhile, he's made his one and only demand to the promoters of Saturday's fight. Bruno wants the England dressing room at Wembley to recreate the atmosphere of the football team's world title win 20 years ago.
So you'll see when the bell rings.
The Witherspoon camp ooze extravagant confidence and are dedicating this fight, slightly perversely, to Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson.
Terrible Tim Witherspoon in this light will be Sir Lancelot, and he will be defending the crown. And he will do it in magnificent style and stature with dignity, sophistication, and he will vanquish his opponent. It will be like a joust in the old days when the Knight of the Round Table goes out and defends the honor of the crown.
At Wembley Stadium, the ring's being made ready. Over 40,000 tickets have already been sold. The cheaper seats, costing £25 each, are all gone, but some more expensive tickets are still available. It's the hope of seeing another Bruno performance like this that's persuaded people to pay £150 for a ringside view. Witherspoon, though, is likely to be a bigger obstacle than Jerry Coetzee.
He's out, and Bruno is on his way to a crack at the world title.
Hook or by crook, I'm coming out with that belt. I don't care how things want to go. I'm coming out with the belt around my way, and I'm being heavyweight champion of the world. That's my main aim, you know, being heavyweight champion of the world. Every night I've been praying. I've just got to win.
Now, if you... One battered by... preparing with Wembley. And beats Tim Witherspoon and claims the world heavyweight title. Harry Carpenter, of course, has been very close to Frank all the way to his rise to the top from the time that he took the ABA title in 1980 to his current position as world title challenger. So we got Harry to chart that rise and also look back at some of the British challengers who have gone before.
Frank Bruno, the latest pursuer of that impossible dream, a British world heavyweight champion. Unless you're close on 100 years old, you won't remember the last one. Correction, the only one. Bob Fitzsimmons from Helston in Cornwall. Even he left these shores as a child and learned to box in New Zealand. Fitzsimmons won the title from James J. Corbett in America in 1897 and lost it to James J. Jeffries 2 years later, which means Britain hasn't had a look in this century. and the century's fast running out. All those old champions came and went: Johnson, Willard, Dempsey, Tunney, Schmeling, Sharkey, Carnera, Bear and Braddock, and we couldn't even find someone good enough to challenge them. But in 1937, along came Tommy Farr from Tonypandy in Wales and spent 15 rounds in New York valiantly trying to overturn the great Joe Louis. Tommy lost the decision, but won the respect of a nation. And when he died this year, Tommy was still being complimented for those 60 minutes with Louis half a century ago. Another long wait, until in 1955, the late Don Cockle of Battersea took on the fearsome Rocky Marciano in San Francisco. Don didn't really have a chance, but he went 9 courageous rounds, and many a good man didn't get that far against the Rock. Since Don, the challenges have increased in number, but been no more successful. Our best bet was Henry Cooper. Who can forget that night at Wembley in 1963 when he smacked Cassius Clay, who wasn't yet known as Muhammad Ali, on the seat of his elegant pants with a sweeter left hook as you'll ever see. No, it wasn't for the world title, and no, Henry didn't win, but he won eternal fame for what he did. And 3 years later, he did fight Ali for the title, but he got cut again, and he lost again. We also doff our hats to Brian London, Joe Bugner, and Richard Dunn, all of whom had a go and failed. Now it's 10 years since anyone had a go. But Big Frank carries our hopes, and more essentially carries a bigger punch than any of our previous challengers. Our first glimpse of the young giant from Wandsworth was in the ABA finals of 1980. He'd been boxing only 2 years. Frank's already famous punching power didn't materialise in this 3-rounder with Rudy Pica, but he won a close decision. Eye problems postponed his professional debut for 2 years, and then, in March 1982, he was matched against Lupe Guerra of Mexico, and so began his long sequence of very short fights.
Bruno setting him up with the left jab there. Down he goes again. Well, that punch seemed to land across the top of the head. And I don't think he wants to get up from that one. And he's out.
Heaven knows the heavyweight scene in this country could do with the lift. And Stevenson's folding up on the middle rope and comes out over it, and his foot appears in my face, and he's not going to make it back. No way he's going to make it back, and the crowd are beginning to boo, and he's counted out. Oh, good punch. Right and left hand, and over goes Gibbs in the fourth. Good punches left and a right. Oh, that was a good combination from Bruno. And he was quick for a big man. His first fight abroad, and he's impressing the locals. And the Nakusa supporters have suddenly gone very quiet, and they'll be quieter still after that. Left, right. Oh, he's got it. Started the second round, and the Belgium is over, and that might be it for the night, and it is. KO, second round. Bruno does it again. And if this one goes, he'll go with a real bang, because he is very tall, and he weighs just over 16 stone. Oh, there we are. Bang. 35 seconds. Bruno upright, a giant. Nielsen a big man, but crouching over and taken with a right hand early in the third.
Bruno's philosophy, despite some of the criticism he takes about stopping men quickly and not gaining the experience, that's what he wants to do. He just likes to stop fights. Down goes punches. It was the uppercut there that did it.
That was a good left hook, and it's taken everything out of Jameson. His leg came up, his right leg came up as he got a hit, and the following punch sent him crashing down, and that, I think, is going to be the end of this fight. Bruno has just shown the American public what he can do with a punch. Lawless is delighted. That is an amazing win. And over goes Sharkey. fairly predictably, I would have thought, flat on his face and almost certainly flat out. So far, the story had been predictable. But now the challenge facing manager Terry Lawless was to find an opponent whose chin was strong enough to withstand the Bruno assault, but who was not so formidable as to undo all the good work that had gone into Bruno's build-up. And so onto the scene came Floyd Jumbo Cummings, who in October 1983 almost destroyed the carefully laid plans of the Bruno camp.
Oh, what a good right hand, right on the ballon. Oh, Bruno's gone. He's gone. He's out on his feet. One punch, a right hand, and he doesn't know what's hit him. And suddenly the young prospect has come unstuck. Oh, how he's come unstuck. One big right hand from Cummings. And if that bell hadn't come up, then that might have been the end. And now they've got to get him round for round two. This was it. There it was. What one socking right hand brought him to a standstill. His legs had gone. And I don't know how he got himself back to the corner. Look at that. Fell into the arms of Lawless, and Lawless took him back, and Lawless has to bring him out for the second.
Lawless did a remarkable revival job. And then, in the seventh...
Oh, there's the right. He's found him at last. There's the big Bruno right. That's the one he's been saving. And Cummings wishes he'd saved it a bit longer. Now then, can the big American survive it? He's got it. First knockdown. Round 7. What a sensation. He's made it to his feet, but his legs have gone and he's counted out. Floyd Jumbo Cummings has been stopped for the second time in his life, and faster than he's ever been stopped before. And Bruno is the hero of the night and of the year.
Well, hero of the night, certainly. But Frank's confidence had suffered a setback. 3 opponents later, he was matched against James Bone Crusher Smith, a man of considerable pedigree. After 9 rounds, Bruno was well ahead on points. But in the final 10th round, just when he should have played safe, Frank did just the opposite.
Oh, he's got him with the left. Smith got him with the left, and Bruno's legs went. And he better get off those ropes and out of trouble quickly. And Bruno is taking too much. And he doesn't know where he is. Smith doing a Cummings on him. And Bruno looks out on his feet to me. Oh, he's got him. Oh, dear me, the end of the Bruno story by the look of this. He took it all on the ropes, and the left hook whipped over, and he's counted out. Bruno is knocked out in the 10th round. Bone Crusher Smith has crushed his man, and the Bruno story is virtually over.
It was Frank's first and only defeat. Fortunately, not the end of the road. The comeback began. Lucien Rodriguez, former European champion, was engaged to provide Frank with a test that could put him back on the big road.
He's often accused of being a bit statuesque, Frank, but he's moving around the ring quite snappily at the moment, and he's hurt Rodriguez, and Rodriguez is over. With 30 seconds of the first round remaining, and he's badly hurt. Badly hurt. Is he going to make it? He's only coming up very slowly at 9, and he can't go on. It's all over. That's amazing. Rodriguez is stopped in the first round by Bruno, and that's the first time Rodriguez has been stopped for 6 years. Here's a man who went the full distance with Larry Holmes, and Frank Bruno has put him away in about 2.5 minutes. Now that is the most astonishing result Bruno's ever had.
This crushing victory paved the way for the next great night in Bruno's young life in October 1985. A shot at the European title held by the big Swede, Anders Eklund.
Seconds out. Round 4.
And this crowd sensing that Bruno could be on the edge of victory here. He's got him again with the right and a second one, and he's down. Right at the start of the 4th round, 10 seconds in. Is he going to beat the count? I don't think he is. He's not coming up, and Bruno is the European champion, and he's made his mark in the world. Bruno's first title, and he's only 23, and he's done it in the opening seconds of the 4th round.
After 20
you can hardly
seconds
do
of
any
round
better
4,
than that.
the winner
And new heavyweight champion of Europe is Frank Bruno!
Here we are again. The opening seconds of the fourth round. He'd had him going in the third, and suddenly the right hand and then the big right uppercut came in. And another right and another right. And the 6'6" giant crashed to the canvas. It was all over from that point. Bruno's a good finisher. Once he had him on the hook, he didn't let him off.
Frank, congratulations. Well, how does it feel to be a champion?
It feels beautiful. Very, very beautiful. I didn't think I would see you again, Harry. You know what I mean? I thought you retired from the show, but...
No, you got it all wrong. No. Right, tell me all about it.
Well, at first I tried to knock him out because I know someone else knocked him out and people what beat him, but he was a good guy, big 17.5 stone, he could jab and move well and he could punch. I dig a little bit, but I thank God I'm champion, Harry. You don't know how it feels to be champion.
You didn't jab too badly yourself.
Yeah,
looked good.
Yeah, I was trying to knock him out with the jab instead of picking it and trying with the hook, but I've been rusty for about 6 weeks, so what do you expect, Harry?
You did have one right hand that caught you. He did hurt you a bit in the
I don't think it hurt me.
No.
All the punches what he caught me with, I knew that they were going to come. I was trying to exhaust himself out because I knew I had to go more than one round tonight, you know, because he's a tough boy, you know.
Following that resounding victory, Bruno demolished his next opponent, American Larry Frazier, and so came to the ultimate test of his career so far, a showdown with the South African Jerry Coetzee. How would Bruno handle a man of Coetzee's undoubted strength? So Bruno on trial tonight, and this crowd knows it. This is the authentic big fight atmosphere here tonight. 10,000 people packed into this Wembley arena, knowing that one punch from either side could end this dramatically. What a welcome Bruno got tonight. The biggest reception he's ever had in his life as he came to the ring to face this giant South African, Jerry Coetzee, the former heavyweight champion of the world. One man looking for the comeback road, the other man looking for the glory that comes with going for the big one. Bruno, one fight, perhaps only one punch away from a crack. And the world title, the right got him. Inside a minute, he's got him. One right hand from the blue, the cool Bruno. Coetzee, perhaps hit as hard as he's ever been hit. 1 minute gone. Now he might be dangerous. Bruno mustn't get careless. Coetzee's cut underneath the left eye. He's been cut many times in recent fights, and he's cut again. What a start by Bruno. 55 seconds. A right hand and another. Surely he can't get it over inside a round. Coetzee's only been stopped twice. He's got him again. He won't get up from that. He's stretched out over the photographers. He'll never make it. He's out. And Bruno is on his way to a crack at the world title. You can hardly believe it. Terry Lawless can hardly believe it. That's the most amazing win we've seen in the British ring for many years, and Coetzee is still out. Under 2 minutes. Bruno has got to be the hardest hitting heavyweight in the world today, and he's just proved it on the former heavyweight champion of the world, the South African Jerry Coetzee.
Well, he's been tremendous today. You know, he kept saying to me, "Don't worry, I'm okay, I'm just concentrating." You know, he was so relaxed. We've had the music right to the last second till we come out. I know what he's capable of. I've seen this guy's power in the gym, and I knew it had to come one time. Tonight it came the right time.
It came absolutely the right time. Frank, many congratulations.
Where's Harry?
He's down there.
Yeah.
He was describing it.
Right.
Brilliant.
Yeah, thank you very much, Des. I trained for solidly 3 months for this fight, you know. At times I thought I was overtraining, and I'd done so much training, running up hills, press-ups, sparring with Gary Mason, Horace Notice, with Jimmy Young, with Adrian Elliott, with Jimmy Tibbs on the pads, Frank Black, and it all worked out tonight, you know what I mean? Because I hit him with that right hand. Then he'd have to be a baboon to really stand up to that, Des. But I just thank God I've won. You know, and I'd like to thank all the people what stood by me through the Bone Crusher fight, and you know what I mean, all over these years, and all these people here what are supporting me is beautiful.
Frank is hoping to reward his supporters in the best possible way by winning the WBA heavyweight crown. In training, he's been as thorough and determined as ever for the crucial fight with Tim Witherspoon, an opponent who doesn't hide his respect for Bruno's qualities.
I'm going to show you that Frank Bruno is a great fighter, a good British fighter, but I think I'm the best in the world. And I gave him 7 rounds, you know, for respect. But I believe I'm going to do it even earlier than that. I'm just ready to knock Bruno out, and the dream that the English people was dreaming for so long. They've been dreaming so long, the dream's going to end as soon as the bell rings. They might as well stop dreaming now, forget about it. The press tried to discourage me, but there's no way. I'm a champion. The reason why I came over here because I'm a champion. I wanted to go through the things that great champions like Muhammad Ali did and all the other champions. He went to Zaire, he went to other big countries and came out on top. I really and truly want to do this.
How much sparring did you do with Witherspoon?
Well, I worked for him for about 3 major fights. Fight he had down here, the fight before the title, and fight he had down in Florida.
How good is he?
He's a strong, good, agile, awkward fighter. He's champion of the world. You know, before he won a championship, he was ranked #1 on all three, boxing associations.
Now, when you came to work with Frank Bruno, were you expecting an easier job than Witherspoon or a more difficult one?
Yeah. My first impression was because everybody was telling me, man, that guy knocked the wet out of water. You know, he's strong. Don't let him hit you. You know. I said, when I come down here, I'm expecting a big, stiff guy. You know, I didn't expect, him to be as agile as he is. And I said, it's going to be pretty easy work. But I found it different. He's not only strong as a bull, but he's agile. You know, he can move and he's fast.
How would you compare him with Witherspoon?
Well, matching on ability-wise, I think he's a much more talented fighter. But Witherspoon is so awkward. And that's where his advantage is with most orthodox boxers, is that he's so awkward that he throws your plan off. So it's all going to depend, that night. But he has the tools. Like I said, he has the tools. Is what it takes to win.
Much will depend on how Witherspoon approaches the fight, won't it? Do you think?
Yeah, like I said, you watch the way he comes down here. Now I've seen him take fights, just like I did. Me coming down here, I thought this was going to be pretty easy work for me, to be honest with you. And then he might be taking that same thing, saying, well, it's a big stiff guy. If he come in anywhere from like 228 on, he's not serious. He'll be flabby. But if he comes down here 221, 223, he's serious.
Who are you tipping to win?
I'm gonna have to go with Frank. I wouldn't be down here working with him. I don't trip myself to working with losers. I work with 3 world champions, and I think that's that's something good, a feather in my cap. And I'm hoping that Frank will be the 4th. He has all the tools to do it, and it's up to him.
Sure, he's got a winner with Frank. It really is Frank Bruno's big night out. That's the title of our big fight preview tonight, BBC One at 11:25. And a recording of the fight, Frank Bruno against Tim Witherspoon, 8:35 tomorrow night on BBC One. Live commentary, though, on Radio 2. And Harry Carpenter is with Frank Bruno at this moment at the weigh-in that's taking place at the Odeon, Leicester Square. We'll be getting a report from Harry a bit later in the programme.
Good morning, young Frank. How are you feeling?
Good morning, Harry. Top of the world.
The greatest day of your life. Are you relaxed?
Yeah, I'm very relaxed, ready to go. I can feel no more better, Harry.
What time did you get up this morning?
I got up about 9:30. I got up about 7 o'clock, but I just laid in, listened to some records, read the Bible, and just relax.
Were you up at 1 o'clock in the morning last night?
No, I went to bed about 11:30 last night, Harry.
You said that you might sort of try and keep up till that time, so that you'd be ready for 1 o'clock this morning.
All this week I kept up, but last night I wanted to recharge the battery to be ready for tonight. After the weigh-in, I'll probably go back to bed and relax until the afternoon.
Do you have another big meal before the fight?
I'm going to have 2 more not big meals, 1 more big meal and 1 sort of semi-big.
Tell me what you're going to have, because I know what your appetite's like.
I'm going to have lasagna to give me a bit more energy, and some chicken and some salad and some Perrier water.
Did you have a good night's sleep?
A very good night's sleep, Harry. I can't complain. Usually sometimes before a fight you get wind up and you can't sleep, but last night I slept beautifully.
You sound very relaxed and very confident. I mean, I've interviewed a few fighters before the big fights, and normally, A, they don't want to talk to you, and B, if they do, they're very edgy. But you seem to be in good shape.
You see, Arthur Daly said this is all part of the business, and people say, like, the pressure can get to you. There's so many people, the place is nearly packed now, but this is all part of the business, Harry, and I'm in a very tough and hard business, and I've got to cope with the business.
How do you think you'll feel when you come out of the dressing room tonight?
When I come out of there, I should feel bubbling, raring to go, because I've been waiting 8 years to go for this fight, and I've been training 2 months for it, and I've had a week of loose training, and I feel very powerful mentally and physically, and when I come out tonight, I'll be just concentrating, going into the ring and just concentrating on Tim Witherspoon, not the 50,000 people what are in the ring. They'll be cheering me on, but I won't be thinking about them. I'll be just thinking about Tim Witherspoon.
And ready to go 15 if you have to?
Ready to go 15. I trained for 30 rounds for this fight, so if I've got to go 15, it's a bonus.
Frank, the whole of Britain's with you tonight.
Yeah.
We all wish you the very best of luck, although you don't need luck. All you need is the talent you've got, and use it well.
Thank you, Harry, if you know what I mean. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
And this is the Witherspoon camp arriving at this West End cinema for the weigh-in for the big fight. A huge entourage, 25 of them, all dressed in white, and a typical American showy entrance. And they don't have too many friends in this cinema. The stage then is set literally, because we're on the stage of this West End cinema, as Frank Bruno, the challenger for the WBA heavyweight titles, comes onto the scene. Traditionally, of course, the challenger weighs in first and will weigh in on a pair of electronic scales. The first time they've been used in this country, and possibly, I suspect, the first time electronic scales have been used anywhere for a championship fight. And the whole of the ground floor of this cinema packed with mostly Bruno supporters. And Frank's weight will appear on the electronic scale up behind him. And up it flashes. 1 ounce under 16 stone 4. And that's near enough his usual fighting weight. He weighed 16.3 against Coetzee, so he's just a little bit heavier. And now from the other side of the stage, from the wings, comes the champion, the American 28-year-old Tim Witherspoon, originally from Philadelphia. And like all big weigh-ins these days, it seems, we've had a row. A row behind the scenes about the gloves. And the co-promoter of the fight, Don King, has been making all sorts of threats, I'm told, behind the scenes, that if American gloves are not used, there's no fight. American gloves are going to be used, I'm told. And all sides have agreed that American gloves will be used. The gloves have been tested. Everyone signed them. 10-ounce American gloves will be used, and not the Mexican gloves that were originally proposed. So that little row is out of the way. And now onto the scales, the champion, Tim Witherspoon. Be interesting to see what his weight is, because there have been a lot of accusations that he hasn't taken his training too seriously, and in fact he's heavy. 16, 10 and 10 ounces. Now that, I'm told by people who know Witherspoon, is heavier than he would be if he was taking it dead seriously. Well, I don't know the exact truth of that, but that's what I'm told. And they're querying what it is in pounds. 234 pounds is his weight. And Witherspoon can't believe it. Once again, it flashes up, slightly heavier, 16, 10 and 12 ounces. So what can't be argued about, I suspect, is that he is 16 stone 10, no matter what the ounces are. And that is considerably heavier than his best fighting weight. My American experts tell me 15 stone 11, I was told, would be a really serious fighting weight for him. Instead of that, he's almost a stone heavier. And now Witherspoon comes to the front of the stage and does the muscle man act. So the formalities are over at the weigh-in. Now we await the fight.
Doesn't look much, does he? Frank all set to do the business, and we'll be previewing the fight in Frank Bruno's big night out from Wembley tonight, BBC One at 11:25. And then our coverage of the fight tomorrow night on BBC One at 8:35. But a reminder, live commentary on the fight tonight on Radio 2.
We pop next door to the expectant atmosphere of the
Wembley Stadium, where Desmond Lynam and Harry Carpenter anticipate the excitement of Frank Bruno's big night out.
Stadium, the setting for so many great sporting occasions, Olympic Games, Cup finals and World Cup finals, but tonight playing host for the very first time to a World Heavyweight Championship fight. Frank Bruno against Tim Witherspoon for the WBA title. In due course, well over 40,000 people will be here, the biggest crowd ever to assemble for boxing in this country. And at ringside, many famous faces will be here, perhaps the most famous of them all. Former fighters working for BBC Radio. It's celebrities all the way. We know what she means. Even the ladies are here. Well, at lunchtime today, the two men who will do battle in around an hour and a half from now came face to face at the weigh-in for the fight. Bruno was a magnificent-looking 16 stone 3, round about the weight one would have expected. But Witherspoon shocked the crowd, weighing in at 16 stone 10. In fact, he was very nearly 16 stone 11, and they reckon that's something like 10 pounds heavier than his normal fighting weight. Well, the fighters arrived here at Wembley a few hours ago. It was still daylight, and Bruno, well, he looked full of confidence. He's probably a little edgy inside. This is the most important night of his life, and he was mobbed all the way. Witherspoon, despite his apparent weight problems, carrying a lot of excess round his stomach, is full of confidence, and it may just be that he's taking Bruno just a little bit lightly. Well, now, nearly 12 hours on, their night's work still some time away. Bruno and the champion Witherspoon prepare themselves. Bruno occupies the dressing room that the England football team favour, incidentally. It's from that dressing room that they went out and won the World Cup here 20 years ago. These pictures taken just a few seconds ago, and absolutely necessary that Bruno goes out there warmed up. Witherspoon, he's done a lot of arm raising over the last few weeks since he's been here, but he doesn't look in great condition. But you've never seen a champion more relaxed than that. Well, good evening to you. In the next half hour or so, we'll be assessing Bruno's chances of lifting the heavyweight title, hearing from the champion himself, and meeting some of the leading personalities congregating for this big fight occasion. Well, Harry Carpenter's getting all set down at ringside. Henry Cooper, who shot the then Cassius Clay in this very arena 23 years ago, will be giving us his verdict too. And Barry McGuigan, who knows all about strength-sapping occasions like this, for championship fighters here. Evening, Barry, nice to see you. And here's a lady who's got away from Dirty Den to talk to nice, clean Des tonight. Anita Dobson, one of Bruno's biggest fans, and Big Frank tells me that the feeling is entirely mutual, incidentally.
Thank you. Good evening.
Well, Frank Bruno is already a much-loved and respected sportsman in this country, but can you imagine what the next 24 hours will be like for him if he can actually win the championship?
If Frank Bruno is in this restaurant in the early hours of tomorrow morning, you can bet we'll be celebrating a British world heavyweight champion. With the timing of this fight, it'll be breakfast with Bruno, and some breakfast that would be. British claims to any glory in the heavyweight division up to now are tenuous, to say the least. Bob Fitzsimmons went to New Zealand as an infant and won the title in 1897 as a U.S. citizen.
He can't hurt Farr, and Farr lets him know that, and Farr jumps into him, and he's crashing blows at Lewis. Farr's jumping at Lewis, bombarding Lewis with blows. There's the bell for the end of the fight.
That challenge by Tommy Farr and Henry Cooper's effort 3 years after he first shook Muhammad Ali here are two of the more memorable chapters in Britain's heavyweight title story since.
The bell has sounded, and he's up at about 3, Clay.
This little chap would have been blissfully unaware of Cooper's challenge, but he's developed into the most awesome-looking heavyweight ever produced in this country. And Bruno's attitude and the manner in which he conducts himself have already marked him as special.
I believe in God, you know, everybody's got someone to believe in. Pray every night. I don't go to church every Sunday. I just pray to God every night to be heavyweight champion of the world. That's what I pray.
Bruno's clean-cut image, his plain niceness out of the ring, as much as the mayhem he causes in it, has made him one of Britain's most popular sportsmen of all time. Even without a championship to his name, Big Frank has been able to claim undisputed celebrity status.
Right, and he looks very big as well, doesn't he, Harry?
You ever seen him?
No, I saw him in training today. He looked very sharp, very good.
You've had just one defeat in your professional career. Do you think it's possible that out there tonight you might just suffer the second?
Well, I've just got to keep running. Keep running? Just keep running, Harry.
But still, Ryan Stokey comes for him. Oh, he's got him on the chin.
Frank has shown time and again he can go the distance in any chat show contest.
So what started you in boxing? Was it to defend yourself in the schoolyard or what?
I wanted to make some money, Tel. So I weren't a solicitor or I weren't a talker like yourself on the radio, on the television, so I had to use my body to make something of my life instead of robbing banks or something like that. So.
And at comedy, well, he's definitely a knockout.
Juliet, Juliet, Juliet. Oh, Romeo, oh, Romeo. I haven't seen these since the wedding. Oh, Romeo. He is my lady, he is my love. Oh, to hold the hand inside that glove. Behold her girlish frame, so graceful and so slender.
Bruno has captured the imagination of the British public, even those for whom boxing normally is of little interest. And the purveyors of pop are never slow to join the bandwagon.
Yeah, I'm a great music fan. I love music. That's what keeps me going. I can listen to anything that you can polish your foot on the dance floor or tap your toes to, anything that makes my toes click I can listen to.
Bruno is a star who mixes with the stars, and even his GBH on the English language has produced a kind of cult following.
How long did it take you to get over the effects of that punch? What punch was that?
Cagey customer, you know? Tough. You'd have to be a special human being to really beat me that night.
Bruno has got to be the hardest hitting heavyweight in the world today, and he just proved it.
Where's Harry? On July the 19th, I'm going to be the new heavyweight champion of the world.
Bruno then is already heavyweight champion in the personality stakes. Heaven knows how famous he'll become if he can lift the title. You know what he means?
Hey, listen, I want you to watch my fight on BBC with Des and Harry, if you know what I mean.
We're all getting a little nervous here, aren't we, about what's going to happen. How long have you been a fight fan? I suppose, well, you actually are an East End girl, aren't you?
So, yes, through and through. And my father's a great boxing fan.
Yes.
And a lot of good fighters came from the East End. So Frank Bruno is fighting not just for a title, but for everybody who wants to win.
Are you getting a little edgy about getting down and looking? You're not one of these women now who gets up and sort of...
Well, it's the first time I've been to a match, so I don't know, but I feel as if I might be.
I think you're going to be.
I hope he wins.
Yeah. Barry, good to see you. How are you feeling now after the battle in
I'm
Las
resting
Vegas?
at the moment, and I'm back to my normal self again. Put a bit of weight on, and you know, as I say, taking things easy. But I'm over here looking forward to a great fight and looking forward to a Bruno win.
Just before we mention that, you're looking forward to a Bruno win. But what about yourself? Are you going to fight again?
Well, at this stage, I'm resting, and I'm going to be taking a long time to make a decision. I think that decisions made in haste are the wrong decisions, so I'm going to take a long time and
Well, you made one in
discuss it with my
haste, and you're
family.
going to sit back and relax for a while.
Yeah, I'm going to relax for a while.
Good for you. Now, what about this? You reckon a Bruno knockout victory here tonight?
Well,
is that influenced by the weight that Witherspoon showed at the weigh-in, do you think?
It certainly doesn't help matters. I mean, Witherspoon is one of these people who are... his weights inclined to fluctuate, and I believe that he's probably at his best around 15-12, 15-11, having looked at his record very carefully. He fought, apparently he fought around 15-10 or a little bit less than that when he fought Pinklon Thomas for the title, and he lost the title to him, yet he beat Tony Tubbs in his last battle. But Tubbs looked well out of condition too, so I'm just not sure. I feel that Bruno's power has got to be the decisive matter. In the early rounds, if he lands with a clean punch, he can win the fight early.
We'll talk a little more in due course. Well, the bookmakers see Bruno as a slight favourite to win tonight. It's absolutely unprecedented for a British challenger to go into a heavyweight title fight favoured to beat an American champion. But Witherspoon, despite actually having 3 fights fewer than Bruno in the professional ring, is vastly more experienced when it comes to championship bouts. He'd already won and lost the WBC version of the title before he became WBA champion. And as a professional, he's never been knocked off his feet or stopped. This is his 5th world title fight tonight. He's been down this road before.
Of the free and the home of the brave.
141 for a winner and new heavyweight champion of the world,
Tim Witherspoon has won it.
Tim Witherspoon is a confident man. It's not surprising for someone who grew up in Philadelphia, a city that's been home to more heavyweight champions than anywhere else.
When I step out that ring tonight, that belt's going to be around my waist because that belt belongs to me.
Like most American heavyweights, Witherspoon isn't short of an answer when asked why he's special.
I don't, intelligent, strong, punch hard, and clever, if you want to say that.
Modest.
Yeah.
Witherspoon emerged in 1983 when he fought Larry Holmes to a standstill, but lost a decision everyone but the judges thought was his.
Larry Holmes is hurt. He's out of it.
Yes, he is.
Out of it.
All he's got to do.
He's out of it.
Larry Holmes, we have 1 minute and 30 to go.
Larry Holmes is out of it.
One more, he's going to go down.
He's out of it.
That 9th round is like a mystery to me. I could, like, next time I would fight him, it would be a heck of a lot different.
At the end of that fight, there was a shot of you where it looked as if you were expecting the decision to go your way.
Right. Because I felt as though I outpointed them. I felt as though I was the aggressor. But he was biting his fingernails. He was biting his fingernails and you know, nervous. He knew he lost.
A man who worried Holmes won't be worried about fighting far away from Las Vegas. Basildon in Essex has borrowed ideas from America, but somehow it's not quite the place you'd expect to find a champion's training camp. American fighters abroad usually say they're mean or bad. This one doesn't.
You want a kiss too?
I think he's lovely. Oh, he's
So do I. Yeah.
He's gorgeous. He's great.
Yeah. He's lovely.
I love being Yeah, he's nice. But like a brick.
You've come over and in some ways you've tried to charm England rather than frighten us.
Right, because to me it's a sport. It's a way of life for me. I love it. I love doing interviews. I love the people that's around it. And to me, a boxing or karate is not to be used in the streets or to scare people. It's used as a sport.
Fight class. All right. All right. The best way till you win.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice cops. Police officers. They're police officers, not cops. That's disrespectful when you say cops. Police officer.
Later tonight, however, the jokes and diplomacy will stop. The fighter will be revealed.
I'm definitely going at Frank Bruno, because I know I got what it takes and what it takes to stay in there a long time, but it's up to me. It's up to me to just pursue it. So I think I'm going to go after it this time for real.
So no championship for England or Britain?
Hey, not if I can help it. He said I'm going to have to kill him But he don't know he had to take the title from me.
One thing that's upset Witherspoon in England is the suggestion he's overweight and not as fit as Bruno.
I don't like all the big muscles, you know, and I don't think that in a hard fight, he's going to get tired, believe me, with all that. If he have to fight me every round, he's going to get tired. But if it's a fighter like Philip Brown running around, it's like a sponge. He can do that for 10 rounds, chase a guy in box. But if I punch back at him and go to the body and punch and try to back him up, he's definitely going to get tired, like you saw in the bone crushing fight.
The headlines have dwelt on Witherspoon's weight, just like they dwelt on his problems with the boxing authorities earlier this year, after it was discovered he smoked marijuana.
If they care about athletes, then help them. Don't take the title from me. Don't take my livelihood or where I could take care. I almost couldn't take care of my family because of that. You know, and then I'm still left with the problem. If I had a problem, then they take the belt, kick me out in the street, I might get killed, I might die. But if they let me stay in with the title, then we could work together, and then we could be happy, and then they could say they helped me out or did something to me.
In America, Witherspoon is clear favourite to retain his title. The Las Vegas bookies seem to share Witherspoon's view of Bruno.
Hell of a nice guy. I say it again, I've been saying it to all of them. He's a nice guy, and I'm gonna knock him out.
Well, let's now hear from a nice guy who knocked out a few nice guys in his time and very nearly knocked one out here all those years ago. Henry Cooper, he's down at ringside there with Harry.
Henry, you're exactly the man to talk to on a night like this, because we're back in the place where, what was it, 1963?
Yeah, what is it,
you fought Cassius Clay as he was then, and put him on the seat of his pants.
Yeah, it brings back pleasant memories, that, Harry. I can't really... It's funny, you come back into a stone like that and you can't really remember that night. What call of you?
So we go into the next tape, do we, out of this?
Where it happened, what ropes tied him on the deck? No.
Now, you tell us, Henry, because you know better than anybody, what do you think, how is Frank Bruno feeling at this moment? It's not too long to go now before he has to come out. You've been in this position, in this very stadium.
Yeah.
How do you think he's feeling?
Well, he must now, I suppose the adrenaline now is just beginning to really flow now. You know, about an hour before is perhaps the worst time, I suppose, for a fighter. If he's, the managers, you know, they, about an hour before and that, they clear all the well-wishers and all the friends and the brothers and the, you know, aunts and uncles all out the dressing room, and they want now just to basically keep him quiet, let him just, you know, do his own thing and be relaxed. And I suppose Frank now is just beginning to feel the adrenaline flow. You know, he wants now the bell, he wants to get here. He's waiting for him to be called so he can come in the ring, so that bell can go, so he can get the fight on the way. And once that happens, then you lose all that, like, bit of butterflies in the old tummy bit, but you just want to get the job of work done and done with then. Yeah.
You see, what fascinates people like me and most people in the country is that one punch can change your entire life, as indeed it did for you, didn't it? The fact that you put Cassius Clay on his bottom changed your life completely.
Oh, yes, quite true. I mean, it can change it in like, different ways. I mean, if you're the winner, it can, you know, you land a big punch, it can change it, it'll bring millions. And if you're on the receiving end of it, it can perhaps take a lot of money or a lot of aspirations away from you. But no, I think, you know, it's a big night. See, Frank is in the dressing room there, and if I remember rightly, every now and again you've heard the chanting goes up, Bruno, Bruno. I can remember when I was here, it was Henry, Henry. And and that gives you a little lift, it gives you a little boost, and you just say, yeah, let's get out there and let's get the job of work done. Yeah.
How do you think Frank's going to go in this?
Well, I've got a sneaky feeling he's going to do pretty good. You know, I think, as I've said before, if he comes out, what I'd like to see him is, you know, test the guy early on, throw some big right-hand punches early on. I mean, Witherspoon, you know, was much heavier than we all anticipated. He won't be the sharpest or the fastest things on two legs. So I think, you know, Frank, if he can, you know, come out, start fast, pick his punch, straighten him up with that left jab a little bit, and then cross that right. If he hits him, he'll go.
Let's hope so, Henry. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Big H with little h. Frank Bruno, as you know, is guided by British boxing's most successful ever management team, headed by Terry Lawless. Lawless has already produced 4 world champions, John Stracey, Jim Watt, Maurice Hope, Charlie Magri. But has he now produced a man who can win the heavyweight championship of the world?
And a right hand puts his man down, and he doesn't look as though he's going to get up.
Sharkey. That was a good left hook, and it's taken everything out of Jameson. Bruno has just shown the American public what he can do with a punch.
Open your hands out.
Bruno, the sporting star everybody wants to meet, is a national celebrity, unrecognisable from the immature, naive young man of a few years ago. He's been guided all the way by Terry Lawless, and it's at Lawless's home in Essex that Frank moves to before a big fight to escape the inevitable media pursuit. How does Lawless go about his job?
Well, today, if you're going to be a sporting star, it's much like, I would imagine, the people that are in EastEnders these days. Suddenly from nowhere, they've become national figures, and they've got to learn how to conduct themselves. And it's very hard for a young boy who's a sportsman, and you know, he hasn't seen that side of life. And he's got to be prepared to go to a dinner and sit next to somebody, and they're going to ask his opinion on the political side of the country, and they expect him to give an opinion. So, you know, I've tried from an early stage to make him aware of the sort of questions he's going to get asked, and that he'd better listen and have some sort of an answer, even if it's only a funny one.
You were at that ABA final that he won in
Yes,
1980.
with PKS.
Yeah. What do you remember about that final?
The most vivid thing is it wasn't the greatest of fights to start with. It was a very close decision, but it was the thing that attracted me to Frank was that his will to win. He was exhausted come third round, but he was taking these big gulps of air, and he was trying to get back to win. You know, most big guys, they look to hold and hide, don't they, when they get tired, but Frank was still trying to win, and that impressed me.
How did you come to meet him and talk business?
I went to his home and I met his family. And somebody asked me to go to his home, and I went. And you know, I don't promise people. There is no rose garden in the boxing world. I just told him how hard it was, and I tell them all that they should look for something else if they possibly can.
Frank accepted that, but there was still a major problem. His eyesight needed correction. It involved an operation in South America. It was 2 years before he could make his professional debut in March 1982 at the Royal Albert Hall against Lupe Guerra of Mexico.
Well, by then, of course, he was really a well-known figure already because of the eye problem and the weight and a legal problem that I had. He was well known to most boxing people by then, and of course he was ABA champion. So I think, I can't remember the top of the bill that night, but I think everybody there was there as much as anything to see Frank Bruno, myself included, of course. And he could not really have done a better job, could he?
Bruno setting him up with the left jab there. Down he goes again. Well, that punch seemed to land across the top of the head. And I don't think he wants to get up from that one. And he's out.
He really didn't get a chance to see whether it was going to be tough or hard because it was over so quickly.
Now, we've talked, as far as his fights are concerned, mostly about the good times. There haven't always been good times, and we know of a couple of them. I'm thinking first of Jumbo Cummings, where Frank wobbled a bit that night, but he survived.
Yeah, he certainly was hurt, and he was lucky it was the end of the round. But I just touched his arm and he turned to the corner, and by the time he sat down, he knew where he was and what it was all about.
The only thing is, of course, that after the Cummings fight, where he presumably should have learned a lesson, he proved not to have learned the lesson too well against Bone Crusher, because there he had a fight which, to me, he'd won by a mile.
Yeah.
And then lost it when he shouldn't have lost it, right at the end.
And he doesn't know where he is. Smith doing a Cummings on him. And Bruno looks out on his feet to me. Oh, he's got him. Bone Crusher Smith has crushed his man.
Has it been a very valuable lesson to him?
Well, being unbeaten is always a burden. With Frank, that was on his back as well, the unbeaten record. But most of all, what it's gained Frank 2 odd years in time, because if he'd have beaten Bone Crusher, I think we'd have been in this position a year or so earlier, and he certainly wouldn't have been ready for it then.
Let's come up to date now with the fights that have led to his chance with Witherspoon. First of all, with Anders Eklund, one of the better performances, do you think?
Certainly one of the better finishes. He did it all with the right hand, and that was a good performance. Everybody expects a spectacular win from him, and thank goodness he gave him one with that.
Is he going to beat the county? I don't think he is. He's not coming up, and
Bruno is the European champion, and he's made his mark in the world.
Were you as startled as I was with the way you handled Jerry Coetzee?
I couldn't say I wasn't surprised. Of course I was. I didn't expect that to happen. On reflection, I'm not surprised that he knocks anybody out quickly, because if he catches anybody, then there's a good chance he's going to knock them out.
He's got him again. He won't get up from that. He's stretched out over the photographers. He'll never make it. He's out. And Bruno is on his way to a crack at the world title.
For me, Frank is probably the fittest man in the world. He's certainly the fittest fighter I've ever seen. So much depends on how Frank handles July the 19th. I mean, I personally think he's going to cope with it, because he has matured so much in the last year. He's got so sure of himself in the last year. And he has watched, for some reason or other, he's watched Witherspoon for a long, long time. He's probably got every video that there's been of Tim Witherspoon, and he has watched him for a long, long time. Almost as if he knew that one day that was going to be the big one, Tim Witherspoon. You know, I think he's going to get it right.
Well, we certainly hope so. Have you actually met Frank, Anita?
No, it's unfortunate. We've come very close to meeting on 2 or 3 occasions, but we've never actually met yet. So.
Oh, we'll try and introduce you later if he
Hopefully
has a good
if he
night.
wins, yes, he
Certainly.
must.
And what's all this about him naming one of his pets after you?
Well, I believe, so rumour hath it,
Yes.
that he's named his dog after me, which I'm
But
sure is
not
meant as
after
a
your
compliment.
character,
Yes.
after Angie.
After Angie,
Yeah,
yes.
that is a compliment,
I hope so.
yeah.
I'm sure my on-screen husband would approve.
Now, Barry, final assessment.
I'll try to keep it brief. I see 2 results to the fight. I think that either Frank will win early on, first 3 rounds if he lands properly, and he's got tremendous power, or else it'll be a points decision for Witherspoon. But I feel at this stage, my heart says Bruno.
Your heart says it's Bruno. Now, let's have a little bit of woman's instinct here, because, all right, you admit you're not a fight expert,
No.
but you're a fight fan.
Yes.
You're an East End girl.
Yes.
Go on.
I think Bruno has to win tonight. He has so many people behind him, and Witherspoon looks out of condition, and Frank Bruno looks fabulous.
Agreed, yeah.
So he has to win.
I'll tell you what, she'll be doing the inter-round summaries.
Very soon.
What do you reckon?
You're a word of a job nowadays.
Okay. Well, thanks very much indeed. Nice
a
to have you
pleasure.
here. Hope you enjoy the fight later. Now,
Thank you.
the only live coverage of the fight is on BBC Radio, and if you're going to listen to that, you've got good few minutes to get a cup of tea or a beer or something and tune the old set to Radio 2, 1500 metres. That's at midnight. For us, you'll see coverage BBC 1 tomorrow night, 8:35. Now, just before we go, let me show you this. Tomorrow's Sunday Mirror. But boy, are they ready. That's what they hope you'll be seeing tomorrow, and we all hope so too. Hear, hear, indeed. Good luck to Big Frank, and from us, for now, cheerio.
Bruno fighting for the heavyweight
championship of the world against WBA title holder Tim Witherspoon. From Wembley Stadium, World Championship Boxing.
Stadium this morning, the biggest boxing occasion ever staged in Europe. One that really does justify the tag, the fight of the century. 40,000 fans have paid £3 million for the pleasure of seeing Frank Bruno's bid to become the first British-born heavyweight champion of the world in 90 years. This fight with Tim Witherspoon is assured of a television audience around the world of over 100 million. Welcome to ringside, where I can assure you the atmosphere more than matches the occasion. There is an overwhelming passion of patriotism around. Frank Bruno, who will start this fight as odds-on favourite to dispossess terrible Tim Witherspoon of the WBA crown, will enjoy massive support. No fight in the history of British boxing has generated such hype and publicity. But the war of words is over. The time for action is nigh. We know that Bruno has the punch to win this fight, but the big question, is the chin brittle and vulnerable? Bruno's dream of winning this world title has really forged a grim determination. But in this air of euphoria, to underestimate Tim Witherspoon's impressive record would be very dangerous indeed. Earlier, we watched the two fighters in their final preparations in their dressing room. Frank Bruno insisted on the dressing room for which England emerged to win the World Cup. He tailed off his training 5 days ago. He's obviously in supreme physical condition, and manager Terry Lawless has to establish the perfect mental approach for his first 15-rounder. Witherspoon at 28 should be at his peak, but he spent most of his stay in this country discounting the presence of a paunch. He weighed in 7 pounds heavier than Bruno, 12 pounds over his most efficient fighting weight. He does look flabby, yet one still feels the longer the fight, the more it will favour Witherspoon. Well, there's a fortune awaiting the two men, and, of course, there's plenty of money around the ringside, too. The rich and famous are here. There's Muhammad Ali, a legend that set the big buck standard. Sadly not the man he was, but he still claims the enormous affection of the fans. As does Henry Cooper, who of course floored Ali in their fight in this stadium 23 years ago. Sugar Ray Leonard, a boxing multimillionaire who still hankers after Hagler, but he's here as a ringside expert for the American TV network. Trevor Berbick's here. Berbick is the WBC heavyweight champion. He's obviously in the shake-up to find the undisputed champ. And there's the engaging Barry McGuigan, now a former world champion, but looking very happy with life. He thinks it could be Bruno in 3. And Bob Geldof certainly deserves a night off after the enormous effort he's made to raise money for starving Africa. Well, Bruno and Witherspoon will very shortly be leaving their dressing rooms to emerge in this arena. They will receive a tumultuous reception. Let me hand over to our ringside team now, the former world champion Jim Watt and our commentator Reg Guttridge.
So there's the first look then of the hooded Frank Bruno leaving the dressing room with all his stablemates were in there with him. He didn't want to be alone, and the crowd have yet to see him as he comes up the famous Players' Tunnel. So the crowd roar, the chants of Bruno as he actually leaves the dressing room, comes out, the tunnel exit there, and there's the man. The big moments arrive for big Frank Bruno, very much the hero of the nation, isn't he? They've really taken to this fellow. Shared the dressing room with his stablemates. He doesn't want anything changed. He doesn't want the pressure to get to him, he says. But there must be more than just butterflies in the belly as he comes on now. He admitted that he had them early today. So there must be some kind of going to war tension in a man's soul and body at this stage. Through this battery of cameras, remember, going live across the nation in America. As Frank Bruno now gets into the ring with this beautiful crimson dressing gown and then soaks up the cheers of the crowd, because he knows that almost to the man, except those few that may have betted against him, happen to be with him. Bruno there obviously responding to that marvellous reception. And the wave there of the stars and stripes of the huge entourage of Timmy Witherspoon from Philadelphia. Holder, of course, of the World Boxing Association Championship and formerly the holder of the other version, the World Boxing Council. So the tail of the tape, as you can see there, they're both the same height. Of course, the weights are causing a bit of controversy. Bruno 16.3 and 15 ounces. That's just 15 ounces more than when he knocked out Yeri Kutsia. But Witherspoon looked as though he's fattened up a bit at 16, 10 and 12 ounces. But then when he was 15.7, he actually lost to Pinklon Thomas, so who knows. And Bruno, 82-inch reach, so that'll help him as well. Camp of about 30 people have led Witherspoon in, apart from the security and the London Bobby. I bet Bruno's dying to say, I see you brought all your mates with you. All I've got are my friends and manager and captain and trainer.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand to honor the national anthem of the United States.
So they'll allow A would depart for the US anthem. So there you are then, there's the career records. Bruno 29 and only one loss, of course, to James Bone Crusher Smith, and he stopped the 27 inside the distance. The champion Witherspoon then 26 fights, he's won 24 inside the distance 16, and his losses to Larry Holmes and Pinklon Thomas, and they were both split decisions. Well, it's a bit protracted, I must say this, and I'm sure both boxers now could do without this final chat, because they've had it in the dressing room from the World Boxing Association supervisors and the referee. They know the rules. Remember, if either man goes down 3 times in one round, it's an automatic knockout. I'm not keen on that rule, but that's the World Boxing Association. Only that you can't tell whether it's a slip or a shove sometimes. So it's like sitting on red alert here for Jim Watt and I, wondering when those bombs are going to explode. Now Witherspoon, remember, is essentially an inside fighter. He likes to get inside the guards. You see him ducking and diving to get in already. That's what soccer commentators would call setting his stall. See that? It's a bit dangerous if he's going to lean in like that. Bruno can tag him. Well, the referee already having to work hard in there instead of yelling break. I suppose that they can't really hear it above the crowd. So there you are, they're just it's hardly a feeling range there. They've jabbed each other fairly hard in the opening minute. He looks a bit clumsy at times, Witherspoon. I've seen him quite a lot, but he makes it effective. And I would think Bruno's got to try and stand off and hit him with long punches, especially that right hand over the top now. Watch for that. They'll try and shoot it over Witherspoon's left lead. There it is there, just put him a clip round the ear of that to let him know what it was about. But Witherspoon, durability, he's been his game. Never been put down, remember. And been in with some big fighters and big men too. And that's twice he's unloaded the right hand. No effect yet. And these big swipes coming in from Witherspoon now. Not trying to shrug that off one, Jim, isn't he, Witherspoon? That didn't hurt.
Yeah, well, I'm pleased with Bruno. He certainly isn't overawed by Witherspoon. His temperament looks good. He's letting the punches go. We can see him winding up the right hand. He just can't wait to land some good punches. I'm hoping for some success for Bruno in the first or the second round, just to get him right into the fight and give him his confidence. But this is a good start from Bruno.
Fighting away well inside there, Bruno. That never used to be his game. That's something that he's learned in the last year or so. And a little stare right at the end of the round. That's always inevitable, of course. Well, a very lively start indeed for Bruno as he tucks himself in the corner there with obviously the faces he knows so well. And gets a little bit of wash and brush up with Vaseline around the eyes there. That just stopped the chafing of gloves, hopefully to stop any cuts. Remember, he's only 24. Big lad, isn't he? And Witherspoon's 28. There he is, Witherspoon. Former American football player, a tight end. So he's brought up in rather the hard conventions of the ring, really. And that's what's known in the trade as a cut man, Eddie Aliano. But he isn't cut yet, I don't think. I don't know why he's actually doing the second, and it's usually somebody else, but he's doing the lot tonight. Or should we say this morning?
Center, round 2.
Into this second round then. Very surprised and pleased too for Bruno that he's fighting inside like that, Jim, fighting well.
Yeah, this is a good start with Bruno. I know Bruno's camp reckon that Bruno's jab is going to trouble Witherspoon, and already he's sticking the jab out with plenty of power behind it. Witherspoon is a lot more dangerous than Bruno inside, as you can see here. But Frank can keep it at long range, unload some of the bombs. We'll all get what we're hoping for.
He might look like a bit of a podgy man there, Witherspoon, but I tell you, he really is durable. And he stays 15 rounds like he really does, like a marathon runner. But whether he's treated Bruno too lightly, we're now going to find out, because this is sharp stuff from Bruno. That quick win over Jerry Coetzee certainly has given him some marvellous confidence. But he's having to take some raps around the head nonetheless. It's not all going his way. Not trying to throw the full power in with every punch, Bruno. That's smart. He can just rattle a few in to keep Witherspoon occupied while he's working out what he's going to do with the harder shots. Bruno's manager, Terry Lawless, is always saying the opposition's face changes when they feel Bruno's left jab, Jim. Do you think that's happened or not here? I don't really think we can judge that, can we?
Well, it certainly does. You have to remember that the big difference at this stage is that Witherspoon has been here before. This is the first time Bruno's boxed at this level. Now, Witherspoon knows he's good over the distance. He knows he has a good chin, so he's not in any hurry. Bruno needs a good start. Therefore, this is probably Bruno's best work he's putting out at this stage, because he wants that good start. But at all times, Witherspoon's going to be dangerous.
Crowd rising to that as Witherspoon kind of floundered across the ring a bit. He was caught off balance, but he was caught nonetheless. inventive start, I think, by Bruno. Witherspoon's never been the sweetest of movers, which Bruno calls a lollipop fighter. So don't be too put off by that. He hasn't got that great Muhammad Ali or Holmes stuff, but he's effective. And Bruno has got to keep jabbing him off. Otherwise, Witherspoon's game, he likes to wear people down a bit like a virus. The way Bruno's trying to just bob and weave a little bit. He used to be very upright. And there were moments in his career, let's face it, when he was greener than Tom Jones's grass, but not tonight. Oh, he took the left hook there, and he's taken it well, Bruno, too. That was quite a hefty swing, Jim.
Yeah, Bruno has taken a few shots, even in the first round. There's another good right hand from Witherspoon. I've never seen Bruno looking so mature. Those are good punches that Bruno's taken. We've all been worried about Bruno's chin, but he doesn't seem to be worried at all. He's taken a few good shots, no other effects at all.
Well, he's one of the most, well, certainly the fittest athlete boxer I've seen. Tremendous. But one wondered whether those muscles might tighten him up a bit, but he's not showing it at all here. Well, all the planning at this stage is going well for Bruno, but there's a long way to go. Laying into each other now, I tell you, as close as we are to the ringside, Jim Watt and I, there's some hefty stuff going in there, and they can see it from way back here at Wembley Stadium too. Bruno's trying to beat Witherspoon at his own game now. The close-in punches, Jim, the inside punches.
Well, this is good stuff, because this is not what Witherspoon was expecting. I think Witherspoon expected an upright British boxer, but Bruno's shown plenty of aggression. He's taken his chances. He's been caught a few times, but never shaken.
He may have to try and pace himself a little bit as he goes along now, Bruno. If he can't nail Witherspoon, he may have to take a sort of half a breather in some rounds. What a good fight. So the words of wisdom there from manager Terry Lawless, who I sometimes think suffers more than his boxer, certainly on the way to the ring. And they're churned out world champions almost like a conveyor belt from his gymnasium in Canning Town in London. Trainer Jimmy Tibbs there just grabbing the bottle. Water only, of course, permitted in corners. And Frank Black just giving him the makeup treatment, as they say. So popping back the gum shield. That's the only bit of defence above the waist the boxers allowed. Round 4. Scheduled for 15 rounds, the World Boxing Association version of the championship. And Witherspoon, 7 pounds heavier than Bruno. What big lads they are, aren't they, today? 16 and over 16 stones. It's incredible. And really, they're quite mobile for it. Certainly Bruno looks the part. Witherspoon always fights with his mouth open, Jim. That's not a question of tiredness like that. He's had a breathing problem for some time, I'm told. Open up again here, Bruno. Just don't want to see him punch himself out, eh?
Yeah, well, in the bone crusher fight, he punched himself out, he ran out of steam, but I think that was tenseness before the fight. I think that was burning out with nerves, but he doesn't seem overly nervous tonight. Quite the opposite, he seems very confident. This is good work.
See, Bruno's strength, in fact, is his strength. The man is a strong man, but Bruno uses it, looks good, more to his advantage, I would think, his physique. Remember, Witherspoon, this is the man that took Larry Holmes to a split decision. You had what was then a good Larry Holmes a few years ago. So this is a really remarkable performance early on in the fight from Bruno. Being confident, dictated, jabbing away with the left hand again there. I wondered when he get into that, get some points going. Judges, Japan, Panama, Venezuela. The referee doesn't score. Bruno keeps him on the end of that one. Jim's going to cause a bit of damage, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good jab. I know, as I said earlier, that was part of the Bruno camp's plan. American fighters have trouble coping with good jabs, and Bruno has an excellent jab. There's a lot more fluency about his work tonight too.
Well, I tell you, he's taking the play away from Witherspoon. There's no use him, Witherspoon, waving him on. He's already there.
Second belt, round 5.
Round 5. And for the cleaner punches and more punches, Jim, Bruno in front at this stage.
Yeah, I would think so, yeah. Bruno's work has always been sharper than Witherspoon's. He's landed more clean punches than targets, so he's probably slightly in front.
A little bit of desperation stakes there when Witherspoon starts missing with punches like that. That's what good craftsmen in the trade would call silly punches.
If Witherspoon has taken Bruno lightly, he'll just be beginning to regret that now, because this has been a fair old pace right from the start, and he's going to have to be in shape to stay with Bruno.
Bruno, of course, hasn't got past 10 rounds. He won a 10-round run points. He was stopped in the last round, the 10th, against Bone Crusher. And, of course, Witherspoon's proved himself over the 15-round course. Tony Tubbs, Larry Holmes. This is the round, Jim, I was saying, I wondered if he'd try and pinch what you fighters would call a rest. I don't mean obviously a total rest, but he looks as though he's not going to exert himself too much, Bruno.
Yeah, well, I heard Terry Lawless in the corner telling him to concentrate on the jab. Don't get drawn into a brawl, because that's what Witherspoon wants. So Frank has stood off a little bit more in this round and tried to pin him on the end of the jab. Witherspoon hasn't really done anything very effective in this round so far. So maybe Frank's plan's working.
Well, he's tried to show Witherspoon in this round that he's got the gift of the jab anyway. There it is again, almost playing postman's knock. The double up punch with the left hand there, Bruno. He always looks a bit distressed, Witherspoon, doesn't he? Heavy breathing.
Yeah, well, with the mouth open, it always looks as though he's tired. And that's a bit dangerous. You get caught in the chin with your mouth open, but he's been doing it all his career then. He's been getting away with it fine.
Well, there was one time when the American trainer Slim Robertson really thought that Witherspoon could win in the first round. So that one's gone out the window. So they're just using what's called an ice swirl there, so sort of a miniature, almost like a doll's house iron, and they keep it in the ice bucket there and just push the bruising away. So they must have a little swelling on the right eye there, Bruno. But they're experienced cornermen, they know what they're doing.
Second belt, round 6.
Sixth round now. A lot of criticism here of Witherspoon's training at Basildon in Essex, but he claimed he'd been in camp in Ohio, solid for months, and didn't need to exert himself here. But I don't know, maybe the way he's going, he could eat himself out of being champion, putting on weight like that. Appealing to the referee with a look there, Witherspoon. Didn't make a meal of it. But I don't blame Bruno for roughing up a little bit. He wants to say, if you want it that way, you can have it. Long left hand as well, or a bit rough tactics are going my way. This does surprise me, because that normally is Witherspoon's game, the uncompromising stuff. Jim, the only reason Frank might tire, if he does, is with his own exertions, not the punches he's taking.
Yeah, that's a fact. Frank has set the pace all the way through. He dropped the pace in the previous round, the 5th round, and I think Witherspoon was quite pleased to let the pace die for a round or so. I think he's feeling the pace more than Bruno. You have to remember, if you are the man who's setting the pace in a fight, then you cope with it better. If he can keep Witherspoon under pressure, then Witherspoon should start to wilt before he does. But Frank has never been at this level before. That is always the big question.
Oh, he's getting saucy now. He jabs out and then turns it into a hook, that left hand. Definitely swinging a prayer coming in from Witherspoon. There's nothing classy about his work. And even this early morning air now, the sweat really bouncing off both fighters now. As we come up to the end of the 6th, and a really good start by the challenger. He's carrying the flag of the country very well on his shoulders at this stage. Well, what would they be saying over there in Witherspoon's corner, Jim? Could we even imagine what they're saying?
Well, I think they may be shocked. The trouble with the Americans is they honestly believe that they're the best at everything. They're better than everybody else. And I think they must be shocked, because I'm surprised myself at Bruno's performance so far. I'm surprised by his attitude, the way he's going about his work, and his actual boxing ability and the fluency he's found. So I think Witherspoon must be as surprised as I am, only he's in the worse shape than I am, because he has to deal with it.
Second out, round 7.
So out for the 7th round. Jim Watt was rightly saying, the fluency in Bruno's punches are quite remarkable. He was a little bit clockwork early on in his career. But he believes in himself now. Scored, as I said, against Jerry Kutsia. One punch can really turn around in this game. And when you've got a physique like that, you can fancy your luck with anybody, I should think. But that's the thing, Jim. He's taking some good shots, and he's not even blinking, let alone buckling.
Bruno hasn't flinched in the least. Witherspoon has banged them, what must be his best shots, and Bruno hasn't flinched at all. They've caught him a little bit high, fair enough. Even allowing for that, he hasn't flinched in the least.
Oh, that's the old thing about sparring for an opening, that one. But it's Witherspoon, to my surprise, who seemed to running out of ideas, isn't he?
Yep, I expected a better all-round performer with Witherspoon. The only other time I've seen him was up in Birmingham, and he looked terrible that night. It was an non-title fight, obviously, he looked terrible. But he's not looking too good tonight either.
Well, he took a few cuffs around the head there, Bruno. He could have done without. In the 7th. Oh, he just caught the side of the jaw. He absorbed that well, Bruno. But he looked as though he was in trouble, Jim.
Yep. Yeah, that's the first time Bruno's been in trouble. Those were good punches, but again, he still has his wits about him. His eyes are looking clear and he's still concentrating, but those were good punches.
Witherspoon got the swelling under the left eye. And now he's trying to take the heart out of Witherspoon in the last half minute. Having soaked up those punches well, he's trying to come back, Bruno. That's what it's all about now. Take the play away from the champion. What a right hand that is as we come up for the bell. And he still didn't make any difference, and he just turns away and looks at Witherspoon as if to say, well, you've hurt me, but I'm not going over. Jim, you've been in a corner like that with Terry Lawless and co many times. What sort of feeling now do you get from them when you're in there?
Well, I think it's just encouragement that's needed now. Frank's doing everything right. That was probably Frank's worst round so far, when you consider clean punches taken. He gave Witherspoon quite a few free shots at his jaw. He took the punches well. It was upset slightly in the middle of the round, but never badly shaken. But he can't afford to give Witherspoon any more free shots. And I think Terry will try and get him to tighten up, see if he can push Witherspoon back again, because Witherspoon's not half as good going back as we've seen in the early rounds. So I think Frank will have to try and dominate this round coming up, push Witherspoon back and take the sting out of his work.
Round 8.
8th round. Second's a bit late getting out there in the American's corner. And it's been an easy fight for the referee to handle. The Venezuelan started off having to do a bit of wrestling, but it's all right now. It's cleaned up. Well, you never can tell with judges far away as Japan, Panama, Venezuela for this contest. But certainly Jim Watt and I have got Bruno ahead.
Yeah, Bruno's at least one round, possibly 2 rounds in front at the moment.
Yeah, I would actually give him more than that, Jim.
Well, some of the rounds, Bruno has been on top, then Witherspoon's coming back. That's the first big round Witherspoon's had, the 7. But I'd say maybe about 2 rounds in front. I don't know that I would go any further than that.
So a minute gone in the 8th round. And it's all these years, at 18 years of age, then Bruno was ABA champion just across the road at Wembley. And he really is, those days he ran out of gas, but does he train now, and is it showing now? But the second half of the fight now is vital. We know Witherspoon stays. I assume Bruno does, but he's got to prove it. Now he's sticking to him like a barnacle in close quarters there. Witherspoon, he's getting some successes. He had it in the 7th. Well, that's good, the way that Bruno tries to come back to him. Tries to nullify the attack like that.
Yeah, Bruno's showing us a little bit of everything tonight. Guts, heart, skill, boxing ability, the whole thing. I'm just wondering, a couple of signs that Witherspoon might be just too much of a beast for Bruno. But as long as he keeps firing back after Witherspoon's onslaughts, then we can keep confidence in him.
Witherspoon tried to change the southpaw there, then changed his mind, changed the stance. Oh, I think they could see that one in the back of the hall, and Bruno didn't really see it coming. He tried to pull his head back and got caught with a left hook. Now this is the kind of war of attrition that I've seen Witherspoon use in the past. Can it succeed here? He's still got a lot of ground to make up on my card. So Bruno back to the corner with a bloodied nose, and I must say Jim Watt and I got a little splash of that on the way back, and there's just a little spot of rain in the air, I feel, Jim, as well here at Wembley Stadium. So there's the ice well. They leave that in the ice bucket, and then they just try to smooth that away. That's the easiest way to get them down. Not the kind of injury that would stop a contest. It has to be a lot worse than that. Terry Lawler's been running out of voice, Jim, if it goes 15 rounds.
Yeah, well, he's going to have a lot of encouraging to do, because I get the impression that a lot of the snap had left Bruno's punches in the 8th round. It may be just that he dropped down a gear, but some of his punches were just arm punches. It didn't have that snap. So Frank could be doing with a big round, shall we say. The last 2 rounds have been a little bit rocky for him.
So into the 9th. And whether Witherspoon's punches have sometimes had the action of a shot putter, but they've still worked for him in the last 2. But I'm impressed the way Bruno has ridden the storm and tried to fight back right away, so that the champion doesn't get too confident. He's certainly already shaken quite a few American judges. They thought really that Witherspoon was just a different league. So he's decided to back off now, Bruno. I mean, he might try and use the ring a little bit, but I agree with you. He's got to save a little bit of strength now. We said this at the start of the fight.
So there's a long way to go. Witherspoon's done it before at this level. Frank hasn't. There still must be little doubts in Frank's mind. Can he do it at this level? So far, I've been totally proud of him, the way he's conducted himself, the way he's boxed so far. There's still a long time to go.
Oh, that right hand really right above the commentary position here. But he absorbed it well, Bruno. Didn't do you any good, though, but he's not rocking with them. But he's piling in a lot now with Witherspoon. It's all the uncompromising stuff. Shaking his head there because he disagreed with that Witherspoon to the referee. And looked at him again. You're letting this guy get away with things. Not a good sign when the champion moans a little bit, Jim.
No, it's always encouraging when your opponent appeals to the referee, and Witherspoon has done that a few times. Bruno must be roughing him up a little bit more than he expected.
Constant now applause from the crowd, apart from the Bruno chants. half a minute to go. For big men, this has been a really heavy pace, this. So he's just warned him for pulling Witherspoon on there. Makes a change to see a British fighter warned for roughing up an American champion. So countdown for the end of this round. Waves to the crowd there with a spoon. I don't know whether he's conning himself or the crowd. But I think he's probably saying, I'm coming back into this fight, Jim.
Yeah, well, that was another good round for Witherspoon. And Patches Frank was very good too, but the main clean punches came from Witherspoon at the start of the round and again towards the end of the round.
Second round. Round 10.
Round 10. And to remind you then, it's scheduled for 15, the World Boxing Association version of the heavyweight championship. And the winner goes on to fight Tony Tubbs from Cincinnati. Well, Bruno on my card ahead at the start, and I thought reasonably in front. And now Witherspoon coming in the second half of the fight. Well, it's time to dig up the old cliche, Jim, about when the going gets tough, the tough get going, eh?
Yeah, well,
that's what it's all about, isn't it?
It's getting tough now. Frank is just throwing arm punches just now, just little pushes with the arms. He's not getting his shoulders behind the punch. He'd be better getting Witherspoon at full range when he could get some leverage into his punches.
The newspaper predictions today, well, I think a little bit over the top. Expecting Bruno to knock this man out fairly early, that was really asking a bit too much. But a large section of writers did tip Bruno. And they also have the inalienable right to be wrong, I suppose. So we're midway through the 10th. And the bruises of battle are beginning to show now. They're both swollen around the eyes.
It's been a cracking fight all the way through. There's never been a let-up. But kind of even rounds now. Nobody's really getting to grips with it the last couple of rounds.
See that, he's complaining to the referee that he's pulling his head on. Well, this is a fierce one, this round. You see, they're just running out of a bit of steam now, so they've got to stand toe-to-toe anyway. They'll probably pull it together. If this fight goes 15, they'll start again from about the 13th, trying to get some movement going. But right now, they've got to anchor their feet to the ground. And with this bumping and boring with the hedge, Jim, I'm surprised that neither fighter's cut. What a fight. They're banging away inside there. They're about, what, 4 feet from Jim Watt and I now, and I tell you, it's rough in there. What a good fight. Bruno standing and trading. Round 11, Witherspoon out early for work, and it's unknown territory now for Bruno. He's never been beyond the 10th round, and that was only in one contest against Philip Brown of America, who really wasn't in Witherspoon's class. I just wish the judges tonight were a little bit closer geographically to this country than they are. Like Panama, Japan, Venezuela have no idea, Jim, how they're going to view a fight at all.
Yeah, they probably like the American style, you know, you know, the wide swings, you know, the powerful punches rather than Bruno's snappy little jabs. But questions were being asked about Bruno's chin and whether or not he was world class. Well, he certainly answered those questions in style tonight. This has been a tremendous performance.
Well, he's the legitimate #1 challenger now, having beaten Katsir, who was the #1. A lot of arguing and moaning seems to be going on there somewhere. As I said earlier, Witherspoon always looks as though he's a bit distressed. Nobody knows the troubles he's seen when he's fighting. But durability, I haven't seen a heavyweight soak up like he does and keeps going. And for a man who admitted that he was pot smoking for a while and in fact almost had the championship script from him but was fined instead and took a rehabilitation course, he talks openly about it now, so credit him with that. Well, this is the first mauling round we've had, really.
Yeah, they're really showing signs of tiredness now. Witherspoon with the old head will probably do this for the first 2 minutes, then try to go to work in the last minute. But this is where a little bit of experience comes in, steal around in the last minute.
Oh, a good left hook there by Bruno. That's the first time I've seen Witherspoon visibly shake there. Could have done with just following that up quickly. His right eye's closing a bit, Jim, Bruno, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a fair bit of swelling around that, yeah.
Well, they've got to save themselves for the home stretch by the look of it. Oh, both landed their best shots together there. And it's Bruno who's hurt the most, I would think. He's got to try and grab and get his way out of trouble here. Oh, on the top of the head, the left hook. He's starting to go to pieces in the corner. And he's breaking up a bit now. And he's hitting him on. He's down. He's got to get him up. And the towel has come in from Terry Lawless's corner in the 11th round, towards the end of the 11th round. And he broke up in a similar way, Jim, than he did with Bone Crusher Smith. He was fighting so well that he got caught in a neutral corner, started to go, and at that point, as you say, the experience of the champion showed. He completely took over. But I didn't like the punches at all on the... while he was down, the referee seemed to let him get away with that, but in fact, the fight was over anyway, really, because Lawless had that compassionate act with the towel.
But those were tremendous punches, bang on the chin. Frank did well to keep on his feet for the first 3 or 4 of them. They were tremendous punches. Frank gave everything he had, and the strangest had happened in the only quiet round in the fight.
So a disappointment there from Mrs. Bruno, the first time that she's attended a fight and saw her son fighting so well, and then it went against him. So, Jim, let's have a look at the replay now. You see, that was the big looping right hand. That's a great exchange of punches there. Then that was the one that we called as he did that. We knew that Bruno was shaken to his boots there. Then he did it again and again. And then he comes back and tries to hang on there. He's looking, look there, you see, saying, look, how do I get out of this? And he can't just get this man away from him. And he's thrown now into Witherspoon's corner. And he tries to back off there. He just... His faculties are not quite with him there, Bruno, and there he goes, tumbling back. So the referee, I think, has made up his mind. Certainly manager Terry Lawless has at that stage. On the top of the head, the final punch, really. Now, he's allowed him to get away with that one, which surprised me, and just, well, we would call a tap, but there was no need for it. And at that point, the towel was in. Jim?
Yeah, well, the right hand started the troubles. It was a wide right hand. There's a left hook. Follow up. Now, Bruno's in bad trouble here. This is where a little bit of experience was needed. Bruno either needed to take a count or to grab a hold of Witherspoon, but he didn't have the experience to do that. But nonetheless, a tremendous performance from Bruno.
Champion, were you surprised at the tough fight that Bruno was giving you early on?
No, like I said earlier, that he was a tough opponent. I wasn't taking him lightly. I watched films of him and he knocking everybody out. And I did not take him lightly. I trained hard and came in here to expect, anticipating a hard fight. And he's a good fighter.
So, did you resent the criticism that the press here was saying you weren't training that well?
No, they expected me to get upset, but I wasn't. I was scared for the fight. I didn't care what the press do. I'm all right. I don't care. I come in and fight him like it was a war, and I won.
Timmy, were you worried early on? He boxed so well. Were you worried that he wasn't going to fade away, that you would catch him? I mean, he got off to a good start, yeah. Bruno. Were you concerned about that? I can come back. I'm a great champion. I'm never going to quit. I'm a Capricorn like Ali, Frazier, all the great fighters, and I'm not going to quit.
I thought Bruno fought one hell of a fight. I thought he was very good. He proved himself worthy. He did England proud, and I would like to see Bruno fight again.
So he can come again even in your series that you're running. You
Absolutely.
Never know.
At the end of the Ultimate Championship, they got 2 more options to fight. Bruno could certainly be one of them because he certainly acquitted himself very well. And I'm just very happy to see such a great event and to see the millions of fans that are seen around the world and the great fans here in Wembley Stadium. It's been wonderful here in England. I'm certainly going to come back. It's going to be exciting. And ITV, roll, baby. You got #1.
And as Frank Bruno goes back to the dressing room with those encouraging words from the American promoter Don King that he could still be involved in the series to find the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, we'll take a short break, and after it, we'll be talking to Frank Bruno. Welcome back to Wembley Stadium. We're still trying to get an interview with Frank Bruno. That's not possible at the moment, but let's hear now from Jim Rosenthal. He's in that dressing room area.
Well, Dickie, chaotic scenes really outside Frank Bruno's dressing room. Frank and Terry Lawless are giving no interviews, but they have issued a statement. Terry Lawless saying he was proud of the way Frank Bruno fought. He let nobody down at all. And Frank saying he was a little bit bruised around the face, but he thinks Witherspoon will go home with great respect for him. Just a point about the fight. The referee, in fact, stopped the fight before the towel fluttered in towards the end of the fight, so the official verdict is the referee stopped the contest. One reason, I believe, why Frank Bruno isn't going to give any interviews until Monday at the earliest. I think 1 or 2 of those punches of Tim Witherspoon had a real effect, and I believe he's going to have to go for an X-ray on a possible fractured jaw.
Well, Jim, despite that defeat, I think we saw a new and a more mature Frank Bruno tonight.
Yeah, I really feel Bruno answered a lot of questions tonight. I thought he matched Witherspoon in every department. Round about the 7th or 8th round, there were signs that Witherspoon may just be too much of a beast for Frank, and that is actually what happened in the end. He just had too much grit, too much strength for Frank.
And perhaps too much stamina, or not enough stamina for Bruno.
Yeah, well, just a little bit too much of that. See, Witherspoon has been there so often in the past. Frank has never been at that level before, never had to dig deep into himself like that. He had to do it tonight, but unfortunately he couldn't match Witherspoon in that department.
Jim, where do you think Bruno goes from here?
Well, Bruno actually comes out of this defeat with more credit than all of his wins put together. It's a strange situation. Bruno has proved that he is championship quality. I mean, for 7 or 8 rounds, nobody knew who was going to win this fight tonight. So Bruno has proved a lot tonight. All he needs is back to the drawing board, get to work a little bit, maybe in stamina or whatever, I don't know. But he has proved he is a genuine contender, and he can only go forward from here.
And Don King has said he still has a chance. Jim, thank you very much indeed. So, with that win, then, Tim Witherspoon takes a very definite step towards the undisputed world heavyweight title. Also in contention, you have Trevor Berbick. Trevor is the Canadian WBC title holder at 33, and with a win over a declining Ali to his credit, he is the surprise package of the series. It was his shock win over Pinklon Thomas, the reigning champion, back in March, that put him among the front runners. But Thomas is still in the series with a chance despite this points defeat.
Oh, he's laying him well there, but he's leaving himself open, Thomas, and Berbick knows it. And he's looking good again here, Berbick.
Michael Spinks is the holder of the IBF title. He hung on grimly to that championship in April against Larry Holmes. A closer call, perhaps, than when winning it in their first encounter.
Oh, what a start by Mike Spinks.
Tony Tubbs, who lost to Tim Witherspoon in January, was awarded a rematch, but he withdrew in favour of Bruno. Tubbs is still in the reckoning, though, despite this defeat.
It's an exceptionally fast start for a heavyweight championship fight, this, and there's a good trading round, this.
And now Mike Tyson, the unbeaten 20-year-old sensation from New York, has burst into the series. He's referred to as a black Marciano. This win over Reggie Gross shows you why.
Square on, hooking all the time. He really is an exciting fighter. He's going to hit this fellow like a punch bag at this stage, saying, hey, how about opening up and fighting? And he is, Gross. He's answered the call. Might be a mistake. He's ducking and diving a little bit, Tyson. He's doing well, but he's getting caught at the same time. Oh, that's it. I think that could be good night all. What a left hook there.
And this is how the series is planned to progress. On the 6th of September in Las Vegas, Michael Spinks takes on the European champion Stefan Tangstad. In either October or November, Trevor Berbick will face either Mike Tyson or Pinklin Thomas. Then in January or February, Witherspoon will meet Tony Tubbs again. And in the spring, the winner of that one could be matched against either Berbick, Tyson or Thomas. This should build up